Thanks for your time. This is news at 10 on TV3 and 3FM 92.7. The bulletin is live from the News Hub at Adisawe, Kanda in Accra. I'm Stephen Nt. And remember, you can send in your views and comments to our various social media pages on Twitter at News on TV3 and on Facebook at News on TV3. Let's start with the highlights of some of the major news items in the day. President Akufo-Addo says his government will continue to roll out policies to enhance the human resource development of the country. Launching the free SHS policy in Accra, the president charged students to take advantage of the initiative to guarantee their future. And some parents whose wards have been posted to Presbyterian Senior High School Allah in Accra have agitated against the demand by the school authorities for them to pay monies. But the headmaster says the school lacks furniture and cannot wait for government's intervention as they prepare to start lessons on Wednesday. On parents who turned up in their numbers at the Ministry of Education are still agitated that they cannot secure placement for their wards. They have implored government to devise other strategies to get the placement so they do not forfeit the opportunity posed by the free SHS program. And the first half of 2017 has recorded $18.5 million cyber fraud cases, according to the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service. Deputy Director General of CID, ACP Tiwa Adodankwa, disclosed this as the opening of a digital forensic training, adding 82% of cases reported at the Cyber Crimes Unit in 2016 were fraud, amounting to some $35 million US. Those were our major news highlights. Remember, you can hear us on 3FM 92.7 and we're streaming live on our Facebook page. Up next is the big one. Please stay. Welcome back. Now, the People's National Convention, PNC, has hinted of the possibility of an early Congress to elect national executives and flag bearer. The party intends to possibly decouple the election of the national executives from that of the flag bearer towards the 2020 election. The party says it has to be instituted. It has to institute a three-member committee to present details of the standing committee meeting to the National Executive Council, NEC, for approval. The party standing committee also approved the subcommittee members proposed by the NEC at its last meeting. The committees are the Disciplinary Committee, the Finance Committee, Welfare Committee, Communications Committee, Political Committee and Legal Committee. We have in the studio tonight the Communications Director of the People's National Convention, Emmanuel Wilson Jr., who issued and signed our statement. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure to be with you too. So first of all, what have you identified as going wrong with the timing that the Standing Committee is suggesting for an early Congress?
Well, what we've realized, and you may want me to give a little brief. If you look at our constitution, the Standing Committee has a fundamental function, and that is to implement decisions of the NEC. NEC is the second highest. Standing Committee is the head of administration. So the very last NEC meeting that we had, there were major decisions that were made. And so Standing Committee needed to meet so that we will look at those decisions and implement them. One of the decisions which is gone, it has come and is gone, is the suspension of the then General Secretary. The other one was we finding ways to reorganize the party. And so when we met at the standing committee, as part of the reorganization of the party, we realized that one thing that really affects us anytime we go into a general election has to do with the period in which we go in for our party's Congress. I recall very well one instance where we even went into the Congress in an election year. And so it was just practically about 9 or 10 months into the election year, into the general election.
And that didn't give you enough time.
It didn't give us
hit
enough
the
time to
ground
go,
sufficiently.
Clearly, practically, if you elect officers and you give them just about 9-10 months to prepare into a general election, it's going to be very difficult. And so the standing committee realized that this is one thing that has been affecting us. And if it is possible, we should look at how best we can go into an early Congress. The early Congress we are looking at is next year, 2018. The other thing in line with the early Congress that the standing committee realized is the decoupling of the flag bearer election from that of the national executive election. The standing committee realized that anytime we go into a Congress and we elect these two group of people, the flag bearer and the national executives, automatically attention is shifted onto the flag bearer, and the national executives do not get that enough space to organize the party.
So you think that decoupling is best for your party?
So we think that decoupling is best for us. And of course, we want to learn from best practices. As we speak now, there are two political parties that have had the opportunity to rule this country as far as this Fourth Republic is concerned, and that is the NDC and the MPP. These two political parties have one thing in common, that they always go in to elect their national officers separately from their flag bearer. And we thought that we can see some wisdom in it, and so we want to implement such a thing.
You've also said that your party is embarking on restructuring. The indication is that you're going to shift focus from whoever becomes the flag bearer to the grassroots or the flag, or the party.
The party, exactly.
Now, what I want to find out is that, do you not think that this will make whoever becomes a flag bearer insignificant or irrelevant in the scheme of things?
What we think is going to happen is that the party is going to be so strong that it doesn't really matter who becomes the flag bearer. As long as the party is strong, the party will make a significant impact. And we don't want to build a party around an individual. And that is the vision of our current leader, Dr. Edward Mahama, that at any given point in time, the party should be stronger and bigger than any individual. And that's exactly what we want to do. The standing committee thinks that if we are able to put the right structures in place, tomorrow, if Emmanuel Wilson is not there as a director of communication, who becomes the director of communication, or whoever becomes the director of communications, because the structure is there, it will be able to push the person to function as we expect the person to function. In all instances, structures matters very well. If you have the strongest of person, but the person is not operating on a strong structure, the person's mind might not be felt that much. And so the PNC thinks that the first thing for us to do is to strengthen the party. Just like I keep saying, if we make the party stronger, automatically whoever is involved in the party will end up making the person stronger.
Anytime I speak to PNC, I make references to the split incremental positions and the fact that ultimately your lots are better if you put them together with the CPP. Is this also part of the restructuring you're considering?
Looking at the decision of standing committee, just like you mentioned rightly, there was a 3-member committee that was constituted. Myself, Emmanuel Wilson, who is the chairman, Honorable David Apasera, and the acting general secretary, Mr. Jacob Amwako. One of the things that the committee is supposed to do, we are one to develop an action plan. And the action plan is to serve as a guide for the party from now into 2020 election. That is, if our plan is submitted to standing committee, sent to National Executive Committee, and it is accepted and approved, it becomes a guiding principle for the party between now and 2020. One of the things that is expected in the action plan is we finding out the possibilities of going into a unity with the CPP. And I'm stretching on the CPP because that is the mandate the last Congress gave us, that we should explore the possibility of going into a unity of any sort with the CPP. Congress did not mention that we can do it with any other party. So we are concentrating on CPP. Now, the action plan is to advise Standing Committee and the National Executive Committee, one, if it is possible, because you are aware that we've been talking about this over and over and over and over, and you know, at the end of the day, we end up failing each other. So we want to find out if it is possible. If it is possible, the action plan should tell the whole party, the National Executive, and the Standing, how to go about it. If it is also not possible, then the action plan should advise the party how best we can go into 2020 as an independent, that is PNC political party, and how best we can maximize our fortune. The other thing that is expected in the action plan has to do with how best we can, or the strategy we can use to win as many constituencies as possible. The party has realized that, and history teaches us so, particularly in this Fourth Republic, that largely the party that ends up forming the government, one thing that influences the party to win is the representation the party has in parliament. And so the People's National Convention, we are concentrating and focusing our minds on how best we can have our significance or our presence felt so much in the parliamentary.
But talking about your presence and all of these efforts you're putting in place, the party has been back and forth in the news recently with the suspension of the General Secretary, and now your national chairman, Bernard Mona, presented a vehicle to the party's campaign and wants it back, but the party is making it difficult for him to get the car back. Why is this so?
Steve, this is really an unfortunate thing. It was also one of the things that was deliberated on at the meeting. You see, this issue has gone to the extent of the national chairman reporting it to the Kotobabi police, that he has a car missing, his car is missing, and then the police should assist him to find the car, particularly when he knows exactly where he handed the car over. So when we had the meeting, we afforded the two gentlemen the opportunity to give us the facts of it so that Standing Committee will make a final determination. Dr. Edward Mahama, per the facts that he gave, said that prior to the 2016 election, the chairman came to him and gave him a pickup. And when he gave him the pickup, the chairman told him that the pickup is for the use of the party, you know. And as we speak now, the pickup is actually branded in the party's colors, and the party has been using it. And so Doctor said he insisted, asking him where it is coming from. And the chairman said that this is coming from a friend of him, the chairman, who sympathizes with the party and thinks that he can support or he should support the party. And the doctor went further to insist who exactly it was. And according to Doctor, per the report he gave us at the Standing Committee, the chairman just said that, well, as we know, political parties, there are some individuals whose name they don't want to mention, and that we all understand. So Doctor did not push it further. Only for about a month or so to hear the chairman on radio going to the extent of reporting it to the police that his vehicle is missing. And you know the strange thing? The strange thing is that I have cited a soft copy of the documents of the vehicle, registered in the name of the chairman, you know. And so I am quite amazed because if you know how political parties operate, most often if you want to give something to the political party, you want to look at the executives and give it to you. You don't assemble all the executives and give it. You give it to the person in the capacity as the leader, or in the capacity as the chairman, in the capacity as the general secretary, or what have you. And so if I am a chairman, and Steve, you decide to support the PNC, and because I'm the chairman, you want to channel it through me, and I get whatever resource I need to get from you, and I decide to register it in my name and not in the name of the party, I don't think that is how the party is supposed to operate. You
expected the vehicle to be registered in the name
because
of the party?
Over the past,
but he presented
that is over the past. over the past years, since
that has been the convention.
That has been the convention. When Alhaji Ramadan was the chairman of the party, any resource that comes to the party, especially that needs to be registered, it is registered in the name of the party.
I see.
Even motorbikes that have passed through Dr. Mohammed's hand, you know, he came and presented copies of registration documents. So that if today, you remember 2012 when we went into the election, Dr. Mohammed did not win. It was Ayariga who won. And yet, prior to 2012, vehicles, motorbikes, and everything that was being used in the party, after Dr. leaving, they were still available. You know. And you know the strange thing, when Dr. finished presenting his case, and then we requested the chairman to also give his side of the story. Because standing committee said that they wanted the chairman to specifically tell them that it is not for the party, the vehicle is not for the party, but it is for him. If it is for him, standing committee indicated that they were willing to hand it over. But unfortunately and strangely, the chairman decided not to make any comment on it. And so what standing committee did in its wisdom was that they referred the matter to the Council of Elders to go into it. And then at the next standing committee, hopefully it's going to be in November, the Council of Elders should report back to the standing committee based on their findings. Based on the findings they report, the standing committee will make a determination. Right,
Mr. Wilson, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much. We're grateful for your time. I'm Stephen Antia, and that's Mr. Emmanuel Wilson, Jr., the Communications Director of the PNC. We have more news for you. Please don't go away. Welcome back. Now, the Museums and Monuments Board is calling for a review of the National Museums Act of 1969 to create the opportunity for qualified national monuments and museums to be listed and protected, responding to concerns that the demolished Parliament House could have been preserved. Deputy Director of the board, Nana Okran, says the board did not have the legal backing to protect the facility.
Changes in taste, innovation in industry and the demand for modern architecture has caused many buildings to appear outdated and a temptation to demolish such historic buildings and monuments just to pave way for modern architecture. A typical example is Ghana's first Parliament House in Accra, which was demolished on Monday, September 11. Per the requirement of the National Museums and Monuments Board, the facility qualified to be preserved as a national monument on the basis of age and historic significance. Though this building caught fire 4 years ago, it still could have a long-term economic benefit for the country if, for instance, it was converted into a museum to attract both local and foreign tourists, just as the government did with the Christiansborg Castle in Osu. In March this year, President Akufo-Addo tasked the tourism minister to transform the former seat of government, Osu Castle, into a presidential museum as part of Ghana's 60th anniversary legacy project. This and others like the St. Antonio at Axim in the Western region, Cape Coast Castle in the Central region and James IV at Jamestown in Accra are part of the 33 national monuments listed under the National Monument Instrument. The board is mandated by law to only equip, maintain and manage national museums and monuments. This means a facility like the Old Parliament and many others which have been identified by the board could not be protected.
The NLC Decree 387 and an executive instrument in 1972. I think these laws are obsolete. They need to be reviewed, you know, and then the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board needs to be given more political mettle. And if we are protected by the laws, then we can go out and be a little bit more extrovert.
Experts say even before such structures are pulled down, the board has to be consulted to help salvage some historical materials for educational purposes.
With the collaboration of the archaeology department in the University of Ghana and the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board, if some salvage archaeology is done, people are going to learn about the history of the area because objects are going to be pulled up. and will be brought into the museum so people will learn about what happened.
The board is appealing to government to attach some urgency to reviewing the law to help save other national monuments. For TV3, Kwabna Edu Jemfi.
And President Akufo-Addo says government will continue to roll out policies to enhance the human resource development of the country. Launching the free SHS policy in Accra, the president charged students to take advantage of the initiative to guarantee their future.
The free SHS policy, according to government, is to add value to the prevailing free primary and junior high school policy. The aim is to make pre-tertiary education a totally free undertaking that should eventually position the country to enhance the quality of its human capital to boost national development. At the launch of the policy at the West Africa Senior High School at Adenta in Accra, Education Minister Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh assured parents government has put in place measures to ensure the sustenance of the policy.
The days of promising students being left on the streets because of poverty are over. The days of parents at their wits' end they scramble to find admission fees are over. The days of young students being driven from class to go home for fees are over. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the dream of the father of this nation. The president has ensured that it's not only his free SHS that he is concerned about. Capitation grant that has been in chronic arrears will be paid up to date, even for the first term of this academic year is ready.
President Akufo-Addo charged students to take advantage of the policy.
Study and work hard and avoid all negative tendencies so that you grow up to be responsible citizens and assets to this nation. Seize the opportunity of having the good fortune to be admitted into this good school as pioneers of this exciting new venture in our national life.
The president said the policy will also cover technical education and promote fairness.
The free SHS policy will cover pupils who gain admission to technical, vocational, and agricultural college institutions. Under the free SHS policy, we will ensure the students from basic public schools have equal opportunity to enroll in any of the top senior high schools in the country.
He emphasized the policy will improve teacher quality to enhance efficient human resource.
And that's it for News at 10. Thank you for making time with us. On behalf of the crew here, good night. There's more news at 3news.com.